Hello and a warm welcome to the second round of the Sim Racing Republic Sports Car Championship video briefing. This is going to be very much faster because we are going through and skipping a lot of things. So let's go into it. Some general notes from the organization. We're racing 4 hours at the Nürburgring, April 5th. So is the server setup date. We're racing the BES version. In Sim, time of day is 9 a.m. carried over. Obviously, you need to have at least two drivers and maximum of four drivers with a minimum rating of 2000. Actually, it's 1900 because of the 100 I rating threshold, and the minimum safety rating is D4.0. See the forecast on the right. So we're going to have a clear race. No rain is expected. Schedule is something we are going to skip through. Just one side note: as soon as the qualification starts, the GT3 AMs may go out without further notification. Once we announce the checkered flag for GT3 AM, that's when GT3 Pro may line up at the end of the pit road. And that continues with LMP3 and LMP2 as well. We are going to count down 10 seconds before the green flag for each class. And one side note: any time not used in this briefing is allocated as additional practice time. Ensure the correct car number and iRacing ID are set. Well, that's something you should have done before the session launched. So this is, if you had any errors on that end, this is going to be a disqualification. We are not going to mess around with that. If you fail at that, that's your thing. Ensure all team members are part of the Discord server because we use the bot, especially for the protest, and that's the only valid form to submit a protest is via the /protest command of the bot. So make sure you have the sub team roles as described in the role request channel. Some additional notes on the bot. We've added two commands. One is the /sheet, which just basically throws the race control decision sheet. So you don't need to look through the channels. You can just type that in and ask for the bot to throw you the sheet. And then one thing we had in the past round was that we needed to clear black flags for our team, and they requested that to us. However, we didn't have a comment for it, and so it got a little bit under the bin, and we didn't realize it in time. So that's why we have a separate channel with the /clear. You can now request to clear black flags, and that is going to pop up for us immediately. We are not going to go through the rules again. You all should be able to understand the general sporting regulations and the series regulations. Also, the driving standard guideline is in place. If it comes to penalties, we are handing them out as black flags, so no changes here. One thing I'd like to mention again is you have to uncheck every other black box, like every other thing for the pit stop, be it tires, be it fuel, whatever it is, even the windshield. You have to unclick that if you only want to serve the penalty. If you do anything considering a pit stop, what's going to happen is iRacing is going to add the travel time of the pit road on that penalty. So if you, for example, have a 20-second time penalty, you will end up with a 42-second time penalty if you do anything considering pit stops. And we are not able to do anything about this. This is on you. Some notes on the safety car procedures, some updates, because we had those issues on the second one. In general, you are to ignore iRacing spotter messages and iRacing system message. The only exception from that is if you got a wave wide. Then, of course, you are going to follow the instructions by the iRacing system messages. Only messages by race control are binding to you, not the system messages. The pit lane is open and closed by race control through the in-game voice chat or and text chat. We are going to call out where the pacing line is moving and if there's checkups, because that was something that was mentioned in the feedback as well, that people didn't really know where checkups were because, yeah, we didn't inform you on that. So we'll try to do that in this round. It should be possible as we have more manpower than in the last round. Tow request stays the same as it used to be. You are to request tows if you can't make it back towards the pit lane and if you need to tow back. Um, so use the slash tow command. The only exception of that is if you are within a cutout area inside the barriers, then of course you can just, well, we won't throw a caution in that case. You still are required to use the slash tow command. Um, in general, there is no tow back request requirement in the qualification, so please be advised that you don't need to request that in qualification. We had that last round. It's not necessary. The only time you're allowed to tow immediately is if you find yourself in a dangerous position. For example, if you're on the racing line behind a blind corner. We had it happen at the end of bus stop, for example, at Daytona. A car was just standing in the middle of the road and they were allowed to tow back, of course, immediately. And we didn't penalize them because they were in the middle of the way. Something else that was mentioned in the feedback was that the overtaking wasn't 100% clear. So let's just quickly go through that. And in general, we just use the normal multi-class standard rules, and that is there's two responsibilities: one of slower classes, one of the faster classes. And of course, it's the responsibility of the slower classes to remain predictable. So you are not allowed to do sudden maneuvers, so that the faster class car who's maybe already trying to pass you will get irritated or whatever. That is uh, not what you should do. You should stay on your line and drive that. And of course, it's the responsibility of the faster class to find a safe way around the slower class. Of course, if the slower class makes unpredictable moves, then we won't blame the faster class for a potential incident, uh, because, yeah, you have a combined and shared responsibility that you are to avoid contacts. Some race specific information: there is a little change to the race start. We are not going to go as a whole group with the LMP2 and the LMP3. They're going to start separately. GT3 Pro and AM will be mixed up and form a starting group together. And each pole sitter is supposedly 4 to 6 seconds gaps towards the end of the previous class. And of course, if any pole sitter is graded on the wrong side, race control will inform you to switch sides. And of course, you are to ignore iRacing green lights, as each group is only allowed to go in the designated starting area, which you can see here. It's basically at the end of the curbing on the right hand side and then towards the start finish straight. In the pit lane, it stays the same. It's illegal to circumvent the pit speed limiter, and of course, when entering or leaving pit stall, you have 5 seconds to switch from and to pit lane. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cover that on the last race. We missed, I think, 2 or 3 times just because, um, we didn't have enough manpower, so you got lucky. Um, but one thing that was mentioned in the feedback as well is that we should clear how the fast lane is to be used, and of course the cars on the fast lane have priority use over cars coming from the stall. So in case any overlap was achieved by the car in the fast lane, the car coming from the stall is required to yield. However, that is something we will not keep an eye out for. That is something you would need to protest in case you feel you got, yeah, disadvantaged by that. Safety car line is the line that crosses the road right out of the Coca-Cola curve, and yeah, the that is if the safety car crossed that line, that is the moment the pit exit is going to be closed. We're going to announce that each lap individually, and we're going to announce when the pit exit is opened individually again once the whole field passed the pit exit. You need to be behind those cones, like on this side. Pacing line is to form up on the right hand side. It is a general side note. The um, pacing line is always to form up on the side where the pit lane is. That's just a general rule you can remember. Track limits. We have iRacing standardized system. First penalty is issued at 50x every 25x following. You can see the BOP here, and that's basically the whole thing. So thank you for your attention, and I wish you good luck in the race.